Hello learners, welcome back to Fit the Lit, where we fit literature to its rightful standard. Today we are about to begin with yet another piece of poem included in your NCERT Flamingo. That is My Mother at 66. So as I said, we are going to cover My Mother at 66 written by Kamala Das. We are going to cover its detailed explanation, line by line analysis, and we are also going to discuss a few poetic devices that are used by the poetess in this particular piece. So first of all, let us begin with a brief introduction about the poetess as given in your NCERT. So NCERT writes that Kamala Das was born in Malabar, Kerala. She is recognized as one of India's foremost poets. Her works are known for their originality, versatility, and indigenous flavor of the soil. So when Kamala Das is writing, she is writing as a person who is an Indian. So अपनी इंडियन आइडेंटिटी के ऊपर अपने इंडियननेस के ऊपर उसने मतलब she has written a lot of works. Then her works display originality. So she is not a person who is going to copy or who is going to influence by some other people. Rather उसने original themes पे अपने works लिखे हैं. Then versatility. So her means of writing, her way of writing is also versatile in the sense कि उसने सिर्फ poetries ही नहीं लिखी हैं. Of course, we are going to read कि उसने she has also written a lot of novels and short stories and other works as well, right? Then indigenous flavor of the soil. So indigenous, as I said, that very new and unique kind of experience for the Indian identity. That is what she is writing about. Indigenous meaning related to her Indianness, right? She is trying to talk about her own experiences in her life, right? Then we have Kamala Das has published many novels and short stories in English and Malayalam under the name Madhavi Kuti. In addition to 5 books of poetry, she is a sensitive writer who captures the complex subtleties of human relationships in lyrical idiom. My Mother at 66 is an example. So again, the last 2 lines becomes really important because that is what the central theme of the poem is, right? So central theme क्या रहेगा कि she is trying to capture the complex subtleties of human relationships. Now subtleties meaning complex. First of all, complex means very difficult to understand, right? So she's talking about those difficulties, those situations which we find really difficult to understand in human relationships, right? फॉर एग्जाम्पल जैसे मदर फादर का रिलेशन होता है बच्चे के साथ, दैट काइंड ऑफ रिलेशनशिप. तो कभी कभार मदर फादर ऐसा लगता है कि दे आर डूइंग एवरीथिंग फॉर द सेक ऑफ अस, बट कभी कभार ऐसा लगता है कि वो हमसे हमारी फ्रीडम ले लेते हैं. तो इट इज अगेन अ वेरी डिफिकल्ट सिचुएशन टू कॉम्प्रीहेंड कि कभी कभार हमें मम्मी पापा ऐसे लगते हैं कि बहुत ही अच्छे हैं, हमारे लिए ही सोचते हैं, बट कभी कभार वही सेम मम्मी पापा हमें ऐसे लगता है कि डांट के चुप बिठा देते हैं हर बार. So again, a very difficult kind of relationship to understand, right? So she's talking about that kind of difficulty कि कैसे हम इन relationships को comprehend, कैसे हम इन relationships को समझें, right? Let us try to understand the context here. When Kamala Das is writing, when she is writing My Mother at 66, she has used a literary concept, right? And here in this particular poem, the context is neither historical or nor related to her life. It is rather a literary context that I will be discussing in this section, right? So literary context in the sense कि एक वो concept use कर रही है अपनी poem में that we need to understand. Okay, the human age allegory, with seasons famously explored by John Keats in The Human Seasons, uses 4 seasons to map life's stages. So ये concept क्या है exactly? This concept is actually was discussed or was given by John Keats, a very famous poet, in his work The Human Seasons, right? तो उन्होंने क्या कॉन्सेप्ट दिया था दैट ह्यूमन बीइंग्स जो होते हैं 4 stages ऑफ लाइफ के थ्रू जाते हैं, राइट? दिस वाज गिवन आल्सो बाय शेक्सपियर, बट उन्होंने कहा था कि 7 stages है, बट हियर जॉन कीट सेड दैट देयर आर 4 stages एंड वो 4 stages को पैरेलल रखते हैं सीजन्स के, राइट? जो हमारे कैलेंडर सीजन्स होते हैं. So what are these stages? So for the first one is spring. So spring is considered to be the childhood of human age, राइट? तो जैसे हमारी स्प्रिंग होती है नेचर में, वैसे ही सिमिलरली हमारे ह्यूमन बीइंग की लाइफ में चाइल्डहुड एज होती है, और यू कैन से जो हमारी यूथ वाली एज होती है. And what are the characteristics that we have? Of course, we start with the new beginnings. We have budding potential. We are innocent. We are playful. We are blooming, active, free, and free from all the worries. Right? We are carefree in that sense. And nature is also following a similar pattern in the spring season, isn't it? वो भी हमारा एकदम ब्लूम कर रहा होता है. नेचर इज एट इट्स पीक. सारे फ्लावर्स ब्लूम कर रहे होते हैं. वी कैन सी द ट्रीज ऑल्सो laden with green leaves. So all these things are there in the time of spring. So एक childhood की एज को, human age को, it says that it is equivalent to the nature's spring. Then you have the next season, that is the summer, that is equivalent to young adulthood or maturity. In the sense when you become a young adult, तो आप 20s में जब होते हैं, so that kind of age, right? For this particular poem, the age that becomes important is the winter one, right? So we have covered spring, we have covered summer, then comes the autumn, right? Autumn is the old maturity age, and finally the winter one, wherein the person is an old one, wherein the human has become old. What are the characteristics? That the person becomes really still, the person does not move. Of course, old age में आप देखेंगे अपने ग्रैंड पेरेंट्स को भी, दे डोंट प्रेफर टू मूव दैट मच, तो वो घूमने वगैरह नहीं जाते हैं एज कंपेयर टू योर पेरेंट्स और यू. And then they like to rest, they like to wait, they have accepted their life as they have lived it. Then facing mortality and finality. These are the characteristics that humans have during the old age, and similar characteristics are there in nature as well. Because in winter season also there is stillness all around. You will see that the trees become barren in the sense कि उनकी leaves सारी गिर जाती है, right? And वो काफी still माहौल हो जाता है. You do not see animals as such on the road. बहुत कम animals दिखेंगे because most of the animals they hibernate during winters. Then there is, of course, cold, stillness, quiet, approaching end of cycle. So, of course, human you can say human life में जो हमारी एक ओल्ड एज होती है, उसका पैरेलल हमें नेचर में दिखता है, एंड दैट इज इन द विंटर सीजन. बाकी हमने 3 सीजन इतनी डिटेल में डिस्कस नहीं किए, बट आई हैव मेड यू अंडरस्टैंड द कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ विंटर सीजन की विंटर सीजन में स्पेशली क्यों हम ओल्ड एज देखते हैं. बिकॉज दोनों ही जो साइकिल्स होती है हमारी, दोनों ही जो पीरियड होते हैं, लेट इट बी इन द ह्यूमन एज और लेट इट बी द विंटर सीजन, दोनों में एक क्वाइटनेस होती है, राइट? So of course there is this parallel. Now John Keats had drawn this parallel, and this parallel or this allegory you can say is used in present times also, or after his time also when he was writing in the 19th century. उसके बाद भी इस allegory को काफी use किया गया है by further poets, and Kamala Das also has used this particular allegory in her work, right? Alright, so first of all the starter activity. Uh, Look at this image, observe this image, and what can you understand? Try to answer these two questions. That how do you think the young woman is feeling, and what does the mother's expression tell you, right? So two things you need to observe. What is the kind of feeling that the young lady is having, and what is the kind of feeling that the old lady might be having? Look at their expressions, try to analyze this picture. I'm giving you 10 seconds, just try to analyze it, right? See, in this picture, we can clearly see that the young lady seems to be sad. In the sense, we can also see that she is, shedding a tear. She seems to be sad, and she seems to be thinking about something, right? And what does the mother expression tell you? That she is very content, in the sense that she is, half asleep, dozing off, right? She is, of course, really old. So that kind of thing is there. Now, similar kind of reflective or reflective mood or reflection is what you will find in this particular poem also. क्योंकि ये पूरा थॉट ही है, कमला दास का ये पूरा थॉट ही है. इफ यू लुक एट द पोम यू विल रियलाइज कि एक भी फुल स्टॉप नहीं है उसमें, राइट? एक भी पंचुएशन मार्क नहीं यूज हुआ है टिल द एंड, राइट? So it is actually a thought that Kamala Das had when she was traveling. तो उनको एक दिमाग में थॉट आया एंड वो थॉट उन्होंने पोम में कन्वर्ट कर दिया. सो दैट थॉट इज व्हाट वी आर गोइंग टू रीड. तो जैसे लड़की कुछ कुछ सोच रही है रिलेटेड टू हर मदर, सिमिलरली शी ऑल्सो हैड अ थॉट व्हेन शी वाज स्पेंडिंग सम टाइम विद हर मदर. तो लेट अस सी कि वो क्या सोच रही थी एंड ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड हर थॉट्स. Let us analyze the poem line by line. Driving from my parents' home to Cochin last Friday morning, I saw my mother beside me, doors open mouthed, her face ashen like that of a corpse, and realized with pain that she was as old as she looked. Now we'll stop here, although there is no punctuation mark, but we'll stop here just for the sake of understanding the line of thought, right? So, right in the beginning, we are given the context ki what is the poetess doing. She was actually driving from her parents' home to Cochin. तो वो कहाँ जा रही है? अपने parents के घर से, अपने मम्मी पापा के घर से Cochin, right? Now Cochin is where the airport is. Again, Kerala में ही है Cochin. She is from Kerala, right? So Kerala में ही है and Cochin airport. She is actually going to Cochin airport, and they both are sitting in the car. Now driving here is an ambiguous term in the sense कि उसने ये नहीं बोला है कि वो ड्राइव कर रही है, राइट? तो ये भी पॉसिबिलिटी है कि देयर इज अ ड्राइवर एंड दीज टू लेडीज द मदर अलोंगसाइड द पोएट, दे बोथ आर सिटिंग इन द बैक सीट, राइट? उसको भी हम ड्राइविंग ही कहते हैं, ऑल द इन द सेंस कि वो एक्टिवली ड्राइव नहीं कर रही है बट शी इज इन द कार, राइट? तो ये वाला क्लैरिटी नहीं है, ये एम्बिगुअस है वेदर शी वाज बीइंग ड्रिवन बाय अ ड्राइवर और शी वाज हरसेल्फ ड्राइविंग, ये चीज क्लैरिटी नहीं है, राइट? So she was certainly sitting inside the car and she was going from her parents' house to Cochin airport. तो ये context clear है कि वो अपने parents के घर से कहाँ जा रही है? Cochin airport. And the day is also given last Friday, Friday morning. I saw my mother beside me. So as I said that she was sitting beside her mother. तो वो अपनी mother को जब देखती है, when she looks at her mother, what is the mother doing? She was dozing. Now dozing means she was taking a nap, right? जैसे वो झपकी नहीं आ जाती taking a nap, जो afternoon nap भी होता है कभी-कभी, you know, mothers also take. So she was taking a nap. So doze off means to sleep lightly or nap for a short time, often unintentionally. कि क्योंकि travel था काफी ज़्यादा, they were both in the car, तो mother सो गई ऐसी, right? Open mouthed. So her mouth is open, right? The mother's mouth is open. Her face ashen like that of a corpse. Look at the description. अब ऐसा description कौन देता है अपनी मदर का कि उनका जो फेस है, चलो वो ओल्ड है मान लिया, बट उनका जो फेस है वो कैसा लग रहा है पोएटेस को? एशन लाइक दैट ऑफ अ कॉर्प्स, एकदम ऐश के जैसा. ऐश वो जो राख होती है, लाइक ऐश जो ग्रे कलर्ड राख होती है हमारी, वो तो एशन, वो ऐश के जैसा दिख रहा है एंड लाइक दैट ऑफ अ कॉर्प्स, एकदम एक डेड बॉडी की तरह. Now dead body here does not mean actual dead body. Dead body here basically is used in order to give away the sense कि वो उतनी ही pale लग रही थी, इतनी ही colorless लग रही थी, just like a dead body कि there is no movement, there is no life. वो कहते हैं ना कि वो red cheeks जो होते हैं उससे liveliness लगती है face पे, तो वैसा कुछ नहीं है उनके face पे, right? She is looking as colorless as a corpse. क्योंकि वो हिल भी नहीं रही है. एशन अगेन ऐश लाइक ग्रे कलर्ड की उनकी बॉडी लग रही है, राइट? एकदम लाइफ लगी नहीं रही थी. शी इज नॉट लाइवली, ओके? एंड रियलाइज्ड विथ पेन दैट शी वाज एज ओल्ड एज शी लुक्ड. So suddenly the poetess seems to realize कि वो एक्चुअल में उतनी एजेड हो चुकी है उसकी मदर, that she was as old as she looked. It is not as if, you know, she is just looking colorless. but she is already 66. So this is the realization that comes to her mind कि her mother has actually become really old. Now as I said कि ये ऐसा description क्यों दिया है? Because it is a realistic portrait, right? Realistic realistic portrayal plus it is a kind of unfiltered unfiltered thought, right? So it is an unfiltered thought. तो उसने ऐसा नहीं किया है कि उसने मैनिपुलेट किया है, जैसा उसको लगा उसने वैसा ही लिख दिया, उसने वैसा ही एक्सप्रेस कर दिया, राइट? इट इज एज इफ वी आर जस्ट एंटरिंग हर माइंड। हमें नेगेटिव थॉट्स भी आते हैं, सो शी हैज जस्ट पेन्ड इट डाउन। उसने कोई भी फिल्टर यूज नहीं किया है, उसने कोई भी मैनिपुलेशन यूज नहीं करी है, एंड शी हैज जस्ट रिटन इट एज इट इज, जैसा उसको थॉट आया शी हैज जस्ट पेन्ड इट डाउन। So she realizes, she looks at her mother, उसने अपनी मदर को देखा and she was dozing off. The mother was dozing off and her mouth was open and she appeared as dull as a corpse. एकदम dead body की तरह वो एकदम colorless लग रही थी, right? But the poetess realizes that this is a very negative kind of thought. And what does she do? But soon put that thought away. She puts that thought away. She starts thinking about something else. This is what we also do whenever we have negative thoughts that we are going to be unsuccessful, or we are not going to get what we want, or we are not going to get good enough marks. We also try to supplement it with positive action या फिर positive reinforcement करते हैं ना हम लोग. So here she is also trying to distract herself. वो क्या करती है, अपने आप को distract करेगी. She is going to try to put that thought away, right? So let us see what she does for getting herself distracted. So what did she do? Soon put that thought away and looked out at young trees sprinting, the merry children spilling out of their homes. So she looks at two things specifically. Of course, वो रास्ते पे जा रही है, कार में है. So she looks at two things in particular. The first image is young trees sprinting. तो वो अपना thought को distract करने के लिए, हटाने के लिए क्या करती है? First चीज वो देखती है the young trees which are sprinting. Now sprinting means to run fast, right? But here the trees cannot run as such, है ना? वो तो भाग नहीं सकते. So she is trying to convey the sense that when you are driving and when you are inside the car, तो ऐसा लगता है ना कि जो trees है वो पीछे move कर रहे हैं. When you are driving or when you are inside the car, तो आपको ऐसा लगता है कि rather than you moving, trees पीछे जा रही हैं, right? So that kind of thing. Physics में relative velocity का concept है. तो science students को तो पता चल ही गया होगा. She is actually talking about the relative velocity. तो of course physics वाले बच्चे समझ जाएंगे easily. Now she looks at the young trees which seems to be sprinting. तो वो पीछे की तरफ भागते हुए नजर आ रहे हैं. Then the second thing that she looks at is merry children spilling out of their houses. Now spilling, the term is generally used when a liquid overflows its container, है ना? जब liquid एक बाहर आ रहा था उसके container से, जब आप for example you keep on pouring water in a jug, तो आपने बहुत ज़्यादा डाल दिया and then finally it pours out, वो बाहर की तरफ गिर जाएगा, तो उसको उसको हम कहते हैं spilling. But here the children are spilling out of their houses. तो बच्चे जो है जैसे शाम को खेलने के लिए जाते हैं तो खुशी से खेलने जाते हैं ना, so that kind of happiness, right? That kind of movement कि वो बहुत भाग के जा रहे हैं. So the movement, the swiftness of action is re-emphasized by the word spilling. So the merry children, merry means happy. The happy children are going out to play. Again, these two images are in direct contrast to what she has seen earlier. She sees her mother and she sees that her mother is looking really lifeless, है ना? एकदम lifeless लग रही है. So in order to remove that thought, she looks at these two images. The first image is this one and the second image is this one. Look at the contrast. कि young trees बोला है उसने simple trees नहीं बोला है, young trees बोला है. Again, contrast with the old mother. And what are the young trees doing? Sprinting. The activity that they are doing, sprinting. और mother क्या कर रही थी? Nap ले रही थी, एकदम inactive. Then again, merry children. Mother is at the last phase of her human cycle. That is winter, है ना? Winter or old age. Whereas she looks at the merry children. Again, direct contrast. Then what are these children doing? Spilling. Spilling means बहुत fast तरीके से भागते हुए जा रहे हैं कहीं पे, right? So that again is in contrast with what the mother is doing. So look at these two images, and these two images actually bring out a direct contrast with what she has seen earlier. तो पहले तो mother को देखती है कि she is dozing off and she is looking really lifeless, but वो जब ये two images देखती है positive एकदम, which is in direct contrast with what she has seen earlier, तो उसको थोड़ा सा relief मिलता है, right? She is now settled emotionally. But she says, but after the airport security check, standing a few yards, again, the thought process जो start हुआ था negative, वो उसने positive कर लिया, right? But after the airport security check, as I said कि वो कहाँ जा रही थी? कोचिन airport. तो security check के बाद क्या हुआ? Again, she is standing at a distance from her mother, right? Standing a few yards away from her mother, I looked at her again, wan, pale as late winter's moon. So, when she is standing after the security check and she is looking at her mother again, वो distance पे खड़े हैं, right? Distance पे खड़े हैं, and again she looks at her mother. Wan, pale. And now how does the mother appear? Wan. Wan means, acha, wan is again a word that you need to understand in detail. See, there are phases of moon, right? हमारा जो moon cycle होता है वो पूरा ऐसे phase में चलता है. Waxing and waning उसी का एक part होता है. So waxing means to grow in size and waning means to become thinner, right? So wan means again becoming thin, and pale. Pale means colorless, as late winter's moon. So again, wan जब उसने बोल दिया word तो हमें समझ आना चाहिए she is already talking about moon, and here she has again introduced the term moon, but it is late winter's moon. As I said, winter जो हमारा context है, literary context, I told you कि winter is used for human cycle, right? Winter is used for human cycle to refer to old age. तो old age यहाँ पे late winter's moon का मतलब 2-3 निकल के आते हैं, right? And this is the question that CBSE likes to ask a lot. बहुत बार आ चुका है ये question कि what does this phrase late winter's moon actually mean? So first of all, she has introduced with the concept कि wan. The moon is wan, यानी कि वो thin हो रहा है. Of course, in old age, the people grow weak. So the people grow thinner and they become fragile. Weak हो जाते हैं. So of course, wan. The mother is also in the warning phase, old age के phase में, right? And late winter, why late winter? Because she is old, right? Because she is old. So two things, pale and fragile. Pale means again colorless, fragile means weak because she is in the old age, the winter season. Remember, nature's cycle में हमारा जो old age है, that is parallel to the winter season. So of course winter moon, summer moon क्यों नहीं है, winter moon ही क्यों है? Because she is referring to the old age. I looked at her wan, pale as late winter's moon and felt that old familiar ache, my childhood's fear. But all I said was, see you soon, Amma, and all I did was smile and smile and smile. So when she looks at her mother again, she has that again the same negative feeling. She is going to lose her mother because the mother is looking really pale. She is looking colorless, right? And she is looking just like a late winter's moon. And suddenly that old childhood fear, हमें ये चीज होती है ना कि वो एक फियर हमारे दिमाग में होता है शुरू से, राइट फ्रॉम द चाइल्डहुड, कि वी आर गोइंग टू लूज आवर पेरेंट्स समडे, सो दैट फियर अगेन क्रीप्स इनटू हर माइंड, अगेन वो ही फियर उसको याद आ गया. बट व्हाट इज दैट फेमिलियर एक मीनिंग? जाना पहचाना, राइट? एक मीन्स पेन. So she is reminded of that same ache, that or the same pain, the same kind of fear that she had in her childhood. And what is that fear? To lose her mother. And although that fear creeps into her mind and she again has those same negative thoughts, but all I said was, see you soon, Amma, and all I did was smile and smile and smile. So she again tries to put that negative thought at the back of her mind and she tries to do a positive reinforcement. And what is that? She says, she just smiles and says, see you soon, Amma. So her negative thoughts are actually tackled by a positive affirmation. What is that positive affirmation? She says, ki see you soon, Amma. Ki we are going to meet really very soon. And we will finally meet as well. ऐसा नहीं है कि next meeting होगी ही नहीं. So she tries to subside that negative thought this time by a positive affirmation. तो पहले जो negative thought आया था वो किससे हटाया? By those positive images. But अब जो negative thought आया वो किससे हटाया? By a positive affirmation. And what is that positive affirmation? She says, कि see you soon, अम्मा, कि हम दोबारा मिलेंगे, right? And all I did was smile and smile and smile. And also the gesture that she leaves her mother with is of smiling. And again, this smile is repeated to reinforce that positive affirmation. She is really positive that she is going to meet her mother again. ऐसा नहीं है कि she is going to die. The mother is going to die very soon. ऐसा नहीं होगा. According to the poetess, she is going to meet her mother very soon. Alright, having understood the poem, let us try to check your understanding and answer this particular question. Why is the poet's mother compared to a late winter's moon? A. She is bright and cheerful. B. She is frail, pale, and delicate. C. She is warm and sunny. D. She is mysterious and dark. So I'm giving you just 5 seconds. Comment the right option in the comment box. Just mention the right option in the comment box. So we have understood the poem clearly. It is option B. She is frail, pale and delicate, just like the late winter's moon. Let us move forward and discuss the poetic devices that are there in the poem. First of all, the major poetic devices that is used in the poem is enjambment. As I said in the beginning of the session only, that it is just one thought that comes in her mind, and this is what she has written. She has just penned down that one thought. तो उस पूरे थॉट को एक ही लाइन में एक्सप्रेस किया गया है, राइट? देयर इज ओनली वन लाइन, दैट इज द पोम एक्चुअली इज कंपोज्ड ऑफ ओनली वन लाइन. तो एक पूरी पोम है वो, एंड देन एक ही लाइन है. So of course there is no punctuation mark or there is no full stop at the end of each line. So yes, the poetic device of enjambment is used, right? Because there is this flow that is created. एक natural सा flow है, just like a thought. So poetic device of enjambment thus does not use any stop marks throughout the text. She joins the lines to create a chain of thoughts. Each line proceeds to the next line for completing a single idea. Then you have personification in the line, the young trees sprinting. As I said, the young trees they appear to be moving backwards, to be running backwards. So ये जो sprinting है, ये actually term किसके लिए use होता है? For human beings. But here the young trees are portrayed to be sprinting. So again, She has contributed, or she has attributed the humanly quality of running to trees. The poet capitalizes the first letters of both these words, young and trees. She does so for personifying the trees. Here, the poet invests the trees with the idea of sprinting, with the idea of running. So, in this particular line, personification has been used. So, the next poetic device is alliteration. Now, alliteration is used in three instances. First of all, the yes. First of all, the phrase by mother. The consonant sound of M has been repeated. Then you have 66 again. The sound of S has been repeated. Then put that thought away. That is PH sound has been repeated. The, right? And then smile and smile and smile. Of course, SSS has been repeated very closely. So, alliteration, the poetic device of alliteration. Then you have metaphor, indirect comparison between two things. Of course, when she says that the children are spilling out of their houses, so ये क्या है? She is actually comparing the energy of the kids with that of a liquid when it overflows the container, right? So here, then it overflows from the container. So here, again, two things are compared, the liquid and the children, because of their extreme energy. So this is metaphor. Here, the energy and spontaneity of the children are compared to a glass full of liquid. The glass or the containers is their home. The children are the liquid that fills the home with laughter and joy. While looking at the kids, it seems they are spilling out with energy while playing, right? Let us move forward with the last poetic device, and that is simile. So, two instances of simile are there. First one is when she says her face ashen like that of a corpse. Her face ashen like that of a corpse. Here she is comparing the dullness of her mother's face to the dullness of the face of a corpse, right? The same colorlessness, the same energyless kind of vibe. Here the poet explicitly compares the color of her mother's face to that of a corpse. The pale old mother face of her mother also makes the poet think about her future. She visualizes the image of funeral ashes while staring at her aging mother. And then, of course, the second one as a late winter's moon. The mother is compared to a late winter's moon. And what are the major things that make her compare that? Because of her age, because of the paleness, because of the weakness, right? The thinness of these two entities. So, because of these things, she compares the mother to a late winter's moon. So this brings us to the end of the lesson where we try to complete and understand My Mother at 66. If you liked the video, like it, share it with your friends so that they can also benefit out of it, and subscribe to my channel Fit the Lit, where we fit literature to its rightful standard and we always try to remain lit.